Hey guys, it's Kane. I guess I never really updated you guys on my COVID. Um, so over the course of the last 5 days, I had COVID. For those of you who weren't aware, um, it was basically just a moderate cold. Um, I ended up going back to Hazen. Um, to my old house. And so I stayed in my parents' room. I was on an air mattress because my bed is in my parents' other house, which they're using for retirement. Um, but the first 3 days, or almost 4 days, I stayed in that room. The only thing I could really do was go to the bathroom, which was just right around the corner. Um, but I basically all I did was go online with the guys on Discord, which some of you guys saw that, um, and slept and ate, of course. But I hardly ate anything during my quarantine because of anxiety and like COVID symptoms, loss of taste and stuff like that. I didn't have a loss of taste, or I didn't have a lack of taste, but it just when you're sick, you never really can taste anything anyway. Um, but yeah, so I did get my temperature taken a couple times. My mom had bought another thermometer than the one we usually have. Um, and my temperature was a low 95, so it was like 95.1 or 2 or whatever. And the other time I took it was a mid 96, which is like a 94 point, or excuse me, 96.456, something like that, somewhere in the mid range. Um, so I honestly felt like I had a fever, but it wasn't a fever because my body temperature was colder. And keep in mind that my body temperature is lower than the average person. Like the average body temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And mine is usually about 90, around 97 is what mine is. So it's usually like 97.3 or 5 or something like that. So it's slightly lower than the average person. But that's just me. Um, but yeah, I had a fever. It felt like I had a fever. I slept a lot, and of course, it felt like I had a fever because I had a lot of blankets on my bed. I slept a lot, and so it would have been. See, I went home on Thursday. It would have been Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. I took I took plenty of naps throughout the course of my quarantine, and I ended up trying to go to bed at 5 p.m. Ended up waking up at 8 p.m. And I mean, I thought that apparently was a nap. That wasn't my bedtime. So it was like I ended up staying up until legit 4 a.m. Almost 3 or 3:30, 4 a.m. And I think that is so this is where I end up getting a little stir crazy. I have some thoughts that people on Discord know about it. I'm not going to tell you guys on here because it's kind of personal. But I have like these weird thoughts that go on in my head. That mostly happen when I'm bored or stressed. And if I'm very, very, very bored, I resort to thinking and overthinking where I just end up going inside my head, if that makes sense. So I was in my head a lot the last 2 days of my quarantine. And so I was a little stir crazy, and that it would have been Monday night. I had like a really deep depression state. So, and most of you viewers on my channel, I know you guys are under 21. I know most of you guys are under 21. In fact, if not all of you. But imagine this. You are drinking, and you drink too much, and you get drunk, obviously. And then when you wake up in the morning, you have something called a hangover. So that's just a little lesson for you. A hangover is basically where you feel like blah for a long time because you drink too much. It's kind of like getting the alcohol out of your system almost. My best friend has gotten drunk before, and he's had plenty of hangovers. So, but this deep depression state that I was in, it felt like I was in a hangover. And I've never experienced a hangover because I've never gotten drunk before. Because I've only had one legit drink in my life, and that was that strawberry margarita that tasted like absolute crap on my 21st birthday. But anyway, I felt like I was just like in a deep depression spell, like deeper than I usually am. Like, I have bipolar disorder, and I've had some pretty nasty depression spells, some of which have resorted to meltdowns and like bawling and crap like that. So that has been, but this depression spell, I wasn't bawling or I wasn't crying. I was this close. For those of you who are blind, probably like a couple millimeters between my fingers, close to crying. And I can just feel myself like about to cry in my chest. Like, when you cry, it comes out of your eyes, right? Well, I can actually feel it in my chest. So, I don't know, and that probably was part of an anxiety attack as well. But I had like this deep depression spell, felt like nothing was worth it. The works. But I ended up testing myself. Well, actually, let me go back. Yesterday, I was in a pretty good mood. I was still under quarantine, but I didn't really... I was able to go somewhere as long as I had a mask, because my parents and I were close together in the car. But I pretty much... So, we ended up getting Dairy Queen. We have a Dairy Queen down in Beulah, and so I ended up getting Dairy Queen last night, and then I was able to watch the Pressure Luck Holiday Extravaganza that me and Sam TGR were really excited about from Bop It Rift. And the episode was amazing, by the way. I really enjoyed it, and so I was in a pretty good mood last night. But kind of going forward, I tested myself this morning. I was negative, and so it's like, freedom! So, as you can see, I'm back in my dorm. I got back to my dorm probably about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Went to the Union to do a couple things. And, so I've been online most of the day. I gotta end up pretty soon. I gotta go here. Jeez, it's already 11 o'clock. I gotta go because I got class at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So, just thought I'd keep you guys updated. See you guys soon. Good night.